Hello, and welcome to FatLogic Friday. I'm your host, Mulberry Fields, and today we will explore more FatLogic posts from around the web because sometimes those words typed out just need a voice behind them to understand just how off the logic truly is. Thank you for joining me today, and now on to the posts. What happens when you try to hold your breath? You gasp for air. What happens if you hold your pee? You eventually pee your pants. What happens when you restrict food? You eat to discomfort. It's a natural response to deprivation, not something that requires more willpower. I'm not really sure these examples of deprivation align all that well due to the time frames involved and the circumstances they would need to be done under. Doing anything to the extreme is never a great idea, and this includes holding out on food. No one is saying that you aren't allowed to eat, so it's not really deprivation as much as it's moderation. And when it's about clothing that doesn't fit anymore, just get bigger clothes if you have the means, you know. Stop holding on to pieces that no longer fit. Using smaller jeans as inspiration to shrink yourself is a form of self-harm. You leave it in your closet as a reminder of the body you have deemed more valuable than your current one. It perpetuates the shame you're trying to combat. Relieve yourself of those obstacles. Love and size up. From what I understand from the responses to this post, this was an eating disorder recovery talk from the past. To look forward to your healthier weight and discard your skinny clothes was a way of gaining power over your way of thinking. Though, as with FatLogic, this usually gets blown out of proportion. It's actually alright to get new clothes to fit yourself better, especially if it's a means to keep modest and with a wardrobe. And it's also fine to get rid of clothing that no longer fits or suits your tastes. That being said, it is not unreasonable to believe you can return to a previous weight, and if that's your goal, it's always better to have something to greet you. Your future self might just thank you when that time comes. Dieter versus intuitive eater at a Labor Day barbecue. The dieter eats only salad, grilled chicken, and only a popsicle for dessert because carbs are bad. Really wanted a burger and ice cream. Overeats at home later to unsuccessfully satisfy the craving. Intuitive eater. Abundant plate with burger on a bun, sides, and a side salad, with a dessert of ice cream and fruit because it all looks good. Goes home after the party and has a small snack before bed because they are satiated and satisfied. I don't know about others, but if I'm going to a picnic or an event, I'm more likely to let myself have something that I would like. You can really only have what's on offer to begin with. Planning ahead of time can be helpful, but sometimes life just tosses things at you. If the dieter has a grip on their way of eating, then changing it up and shifting around the meals shouldn't be any sort of rocket science. And neither should it throw them off their game because they aren't just dieting, but finding their stride in their way of life. Everything in moderation is fine, and a meal outside of the norm isn't likely to kill a diet. As for the assessment, all of it feels like projection on the person who created this little work of art, so I guess we can take it as we will. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just sharing my experience. I followed a diet given by my doctor and adapted to a healthier lifestyle. I started cycling and running, and I was able to lose weight. That was 7 years ago, and I haven't gained that weight back, and I always try to control myself to avoid stress eating and things that might harm my body. Again, I'm not trying to convince you. I just can speak of my experience. So, you're part of the 5%. Good for you. You telling me weight loss is possible because you did it when 95% people can't would be like telling someone with cancer, "Oh, I defeated my cancer even though most people don't, so you can too." Except that fatness is not inherently unhealthy. I absolutely hate it when 1% out of a million is like, weight loss is possible, ooh woo. When almost every single fat person has been dieting their entire life and are still fat. And this is a fat activism post. Fat phobia is barely even cared or talked about. Why the hell do you think I want to hear you praise weight loss? Your critical thinking skills of should I derail this post with irrelevant information are not there. You know what? I tried to empathize with you. Like, I understand that for some people it is harder to lose weight. I totally agree with that. But saying that weight loss is some kind of privilege or superpower is so invalidating to people who actually restrict their alimentation or exercise to maintain a certain weight. Losing weight is hard, but not impossible. The thing is that a lot of people lack the discipline to do it. You are literally ignoring the science. You are claiming what you did is possible if you just have the willpower when a meta-analysis of 50 years of scientific studies has proven that weight loss long-term is near impossible. The likelihood of a fat person becoming a thin person long-term is 0.05%. Other studies have shown that weight is as genetic as height. You are trying to make yourselves feel superior by saying it was your willpower and hard work that let you do this when it was literally luck of the draw. I can't fucking believe you're really saying that you're saying right now. You are the perfect example of why I fucking hate formerly fat people. Formerly fat people are often some of the most fat-phobic people out there and really believe they did something that makes them superior to fat people. They are so happy to finally have thin privilege that they make sure to wield it over fat people at every chance they get. They want so badly to think that fat people are just slobs who don't take care of themselves, and that the formerly fat person has risen above that and deserves a fucking medal. They don't give a shit about how most people have done diet after diet after diet their entire fucking lives. That if it was about wanting it hard enough, there would be absolutely no fat people in existence. Because I can tell you right now that every fat person has dreamed of escaping the immense bigotry they face from people like you. If you honestly believe your one instance of experience negates that experience of millions of other fat people, you are incredibly self-centered and only think about yourself. I'm done trying to educate you. Some days I like to use the word fat as often as possible just to see people squirm. There's something about turning the table and using people's anti-fat bias against them that gives me pleasure. It doesn't change the fact that they are fat phobic, but it does change the impact their fat phobia has on me. Alright, so I included this one because the idea that someone has to reclaim a word like fat when it is a descriptor seems a little strange to me. I can't say I've run into anyone like this in my life, but if you have, please feel free to let me know. I actually am rather curious. I see I'm going to be stuck between how much I root for Brendan Fraser and how much I hate fat suits. I was praying he actually gained the weight. I have a no fat suit policy at this point. As a fat person, I'm over them. So let me get this straight. You really think that someone should put on that much weight for just a role? I mean, method actors are one thing, but it would definitely kill someone to put that much weight on and take it all off in that short amount of time. Brendan Fraser, once a leading hunk, is earning Oscar chatter for his role as a 600-pound recluse in Darren Aronofsky's The Whale. He was clearly emotional while discussing the film Sunday at Venice Film Festival, his eyes at times filled with tears. I adore him, but wearing a fat suit is not okay. It is very offensive. I really wish they would have just hired a fat actor. #EndFatPhobia. I don't see how it's offensive. I'd much rather actors not take on massive amounts of weight, or weight loss for that matter, considering how much damage it can cause. I'd liken it to one baby step less offensive than blackface. There are a lot of fat actors that would love to be cast. I love Brendan, but this sucks. That will be all the posts for today. Please remember, dieting is a personal journey. It isn't about making yourself more appealing to others. It's not for meeting other people's standards or expectations. It's about understanding who you are and trying to become your best self. There is a bittersweetness to reading through these posts. If you have any fat logic that you've dealt with that you'd like to hear read out loud, please feel free to let me know. Also, please remember to be kind to someone today, even if that someone is you. And once again, if you made it to this point of the video, I would like to thank you very much for listening.